So good morning, everybody. Welcome to the workshop here and the webinar about reigniting relationships. And this webinar that we're talking about is all about reigniting relationships and being mindful and knowing the fact that, you know, it is the fact that we have relationships in our lives. It's the fact that it's being around people that create growth in us. And, you know, when we're connected to people, mostly we actually have most growth through that. You know, if we were to isolate ourselves and if we were to shut other people out and try not to be affected and, you know, connected through other people, then we wouldn't get the growth that we have. So there's a lot of benefits to be had in being connected with people, and with every person who touches us in our life, there's always going to be some sort of connection and benefit from that. So what we're going to be talking about today in this webinar basically is, you know, what is it that couples want? Looking at the difference between, you know, passion versus stability in our lives and getting a balance with that. What attracts us to our lovers? The essence of a man and the essence of a woman, and also what women want and what men want as well. So this webinar is for you if you want to basically to be inspired to find a passion or a deeper connection, to find a deeper love connection in your relationship. One aim that I had in my relationships, you know, when I was younger, I'd look at couples and I'd look at people and I would say things like, you know, that's what I want. I wasn't quite sure what it was, but I'd look at people, I'd look at how they were connecting, and I would say, I want a relationship like that. Couldn't quite put words on it, but I could feel and I could see this deeper connection between them, this stronger bond and this stronger connection of love. And that is basically what I wanted to be having myself. So if you want to help build a trusting and loving relationships, if you wanted to bring clarity in relationships, you know, in the decisions that you made about relationships, and also knowing what to please your man or your woman is part of what we're going to be talking about today. Of course, this is a big subject and we could talk about it for a long, long time, but we're just going to focus on those sort of things. So before that, just basically what brought me to doing webinars. Really, it's just a way for me to get in touch with more people. I want to be touching more people, touching more lives. I like it when I see the light come on people and seeing them awaken. I've just done a seminar through the weekend, and that was fantastic, seeing people suddenly light up, seeing them being turned on, seeing them wanting to actually choose life. And these are my seminars, Vitae Amore seminars. I've been teaching for over 20 years. I'm a qualified complementary therapist. I make lots of herbal things. I'm a master herbalist. I've had my own raw food cafe. I've renovated houses. I've built houses. I'm pretty much an action girl and I love doing lots of things. And now I'm wanting to reach a larger audience and just to share some of the things that I have to share. So just a couple of testimonials from my seminars. After, you know, people have said, you know, I feel more confident in myself. I have a greater understanding of where my suppressed emotions were coming from. I do not feel anxious and guilty, and this was something that I used to feel 24/7. And if you're suffering from pain, emotional distress, self-loathing, if you're ready to change negative patterns, then seriously consider doing a Vitae Amore seminar. It was a welcoming, open, secure and safe environment to release and find yourself. Another testimonial, it was amazing, life-changing, wish I'd done it earlier. So these seminars are currently running through Melbourne. You can contact me for more details, and I've got some contact details at the end. And then about a book, this is part of my message. So I wrote a book many years ago, 10, 15 years ago, called Be Alive, which I'm hoping to get republished. And it was basically a book about just how we can embrace lives and, yeah, embrace life and bring it on. So enough about me. Let's start talking about relationships. So what is it that couples want? Yeah, we'll talk about that in the next slide. Why is it that over 60% of couples feel unfulfilled, and it could possibly be a lot more than that? Why do people wander? What's the biggest cause of separation? And who initiates the separation most? So we will answer some of these questions now. I will. So couples really want to have connection. What they want in a relationship is connection. And it's that thing that is not happening. I see client after client, and I work with lots of people who, you know, this is a typical general scenario, but it's not for everybody. It's just a generalized one where, you know, they've been together for 35 years. He's worked, you know, I've worked, I've provided, I've built a home, I've given her what I want. But she's still unfulfilled. So in his eyes, he's saying, okay, what I'm doing, I'm providing, I'm being the provider. And she's saying, I'm not feeling the love, I'm not feeling the passion, I'm not feeling the connection. So what couples ultimately want is connection. They want to feel that connection. And it's all very well going through the motions and pretending that we're feeling it, but the reality is what we really want is that connection. We want to feel that connection. We want to feel together. You know, we want to feel that heart connection. So the reasons why most couples feel unfulfilled is various reasons. The most common reasons why people will separate, the biggest one is always, the biggest cause is communication. So it's a communication breakdown, and we'll talk about some basic communication, but I'll probably do a webinar on communication at some stage. I'm starting to get a list together of webinar subjects I can talk about. And communication would be a big one because that's a great subject that we could expand on more, but we'll just do some basic stuff for today. Why do people wander? Because they just feel unfulfilled. Their needs aren't being met. And there could be two reasons for this, is that, you know, we have needs that we want to be fulfilling. It is not our partner's job to fulfill our needs. It is our job to fulfill our needs. So if we're expecting our partner to make us happy, then that's A, a lot of pressure on them, and B, that's never going to happen because they're not who we are. So it's really important that we do what we need to do to make ourselves happy. So other reasons for people separating is communication. Lack of quality time is another big one as well. So people just basically aren't spending enough quality time together. Yeah, so who separates most? It's women. Women who basically, I think it was something like 65% of women separate, and sometimes it's totally out of the blue for a lot of men. And because I work with a lot of couples, and I've had a lot of couples come through with the work that I do, sometimes it's just totally out of the blue. The men do not even expect it. And that becomes a bit of a shock. Okay, so what do they want? Presents. There's some Roman pictures there. I put pictures of some of my holidays in here because I thought, well, what do we want? We want travel, we want adventure. Okay, so let's have some holiday slides in here. So presence, we want to be feeling present in our body, and there's lots of different exercises that you can do, but a lot of us are not actually in our bodies. So, you know, we were working with people at the weekend, and one of the focus with some of these people is just to get them into their body first. Because things happen to us, you know, things can often be not pleasant, and it's a very good strategy that we create to actually dissociate from our body. I was a master at it. I could quite easily come out of my body and just dissociate because I didn't want to feel what I was feeling inside. So, you know, being in your body is the first and foremost thing. You know, you've actually got to be present. Are you present? Are you connected? Are you together? Okay, very, very important. And with this presence, you want to be feeling it in our body. You know, it's an energetic thing, and it's not something I'm going to discuss today, but maybe another time. So it is a sensation of actually being present in your body, feeling yourself in your body, and both being present at the same time. So, you know, I'm not talking about love languages this time round, but love languages are, you know, is something that you can explore, because if your partner has an importance of actually wanting you to be present, connection and presence is one of my partner's major things. So if he's having a conversation with me and I'm on the phone or texting something, he doesn't like that. Okay, we want to be totally present, not watching the TV, not, you know, on the phones. You see people you go out to restaurants and people, you know, families are having dinner and all are on their bloody phones, you know, like you just got to stop that and actually be present. And children want this too. This isn't just relationships with partners. Children need connection, you know. So just thinking they're on their computers or thinking that they are, just amusing themselves with, you know, the TV, excuse me, or video games. It's not the same thing. So we can feel our presence in our voice and in our tone. So this sort of tone here is me not sort of being present, but this tone, excuse me, is me being present and croaky. Okay, so we want to feel that in our voice. And we know that with animals, you know, and with young children, you know, when you say to them, don't do that, you know, like, can you stop that? It's not the same things, but having a firm and loving tone and being present in your tone and feeling yourself in that voice is going to attract attention. So we also need presence when we're facing our fears and our vulnerabilities. So this is the time, you know, when we tend to shut down and turn away most, when we're feeling that we're fearful or vulnerable. And this is really important, to actually be present with that and to be okay with that. We want to be present in different situations. You know, sometimes it's all very well wanting to be around somebody because they feel good, but sometimes you also have to learn to be around them when they feel not so good, because that's all part of it, and it's not a bad thing. You know, it's a learning lesson for us, and we ideally want people to be connected, you know, when we are feeling like we're feeling. So when faced with contrast, a contrast is basically, you know, if we're in confrontation or we're in a situation that we don't really want to enjoy, the easiest way to go through that situation and to deal with that situation is to be present in it. And a good time to practice present is when things are good. So I have a bleep on my phone. You might hear it in 11 minutes, and it bleeps every half an hour, and that's practice for me to come back into my body and to be present with myself. So there are certain things we do that will basically bring us presence. So when we're eating is presence. Sometimes when we're exercising is presence. Sex is always a good one because that does bring us into presence. So the next thing is talking about passion versus stability. So in life we have, you know, different polarities. We have, you know, masculine, feminine, day, night, black, white. But one battle that we often have within ourselves is getting this balance between passion and getting this balance between safety and security. I've done food there because, again, these are holiday snaps. That looks like a lovely bit of lobster there, and a passion for somebody could be cooking, you know, experimenting, chefing and that sort of stuff. So we tend to gravitate mostly towards safety because we want things to be safe. We want to feel good. We want everything to be nice. It's okay to be nice, nice, nice. But what we're doing is the more we're gravitating towards safety, the more we're moving away from passion. So, you know, when we're in uncomfortable situations again, then we can often find there's a strong pull away from passion and into safety. And it can be quite confronting. Like, I can be in a confrontational situation and still be passionate about it. And people actually find it quite intimidating and quite scary because people are so used to safety, you know, when we're speaking out, when we're saying things that are a little bit uncomfortable, you know, when we're doing something that's out of the norm, you know, that people find that quite confronting because it's not safe. So give us some example here of passion and purpose. You know, here, this is things about spontaneity. It's things about action. You know, there's drive, there's joy, there's fulfillment. Okay, and it's all about being alive. So there was a ceremony or a in the dining room. This is on a cruise ship, and there was some ceremony there. You know, some spontaneity, some action. You know, that keeps us alive. Some of us can get stuck there though, because we're always wanting that action, action, action. And especially if people are sort of quite prone to being sort of adrenaline junkies, you know, where they're just basically feeling the rush, 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 rush. So, you know, action junkies as well, because then, I mean, this is all going to be about getting balance between these two things. So the question that you would ask yourself is, you know, is there enough desire in my life? Is there enough passion? Is my purpose? And your purpose is different to your partner's purpose. It's your purpose. It's your goal. It's your passion. It doesn't really have anything to do with your partner at all. So it's important that you follow your desire, you follow your passion. And I always say to people, you know, just keep following the good feeling. So keep following what feels good. Keep moving towards that feel-good feeling. And, of course, getting that balance with that. And the balance with that is your contentment and stability. That's a Greek dog having a snooze there. So contentment and stability is all about, things being reliability, having stability, having satisfaction, having contentment, having quiet, having peace. So sometimes we can just settle for settling, and I'm not a person who's going to settle. And, there are relationship after relationship after relationship where people do just settle. They just settle for, the 9-to-5 job with the 2.5 kids in the car, and, they're just sort of going through the motions of life. And this is where we can get stuck in stability and security. Everything's fine, it's all good. We're basically settling for boredom and complacency. Though deep down we're not really happy, because we're always going to be drawn towards passion as well. So the aim in all this, what do we aim for? The aim basically here is for balance. Okay, you want to be aiming for balance. So, having things like date nights, adventure days, goal setting, travel, holidays. So actually having a bit of spice there, but also getting that balance with security and stability. So one thing that you would want to be having with security and stability is trust. So, when I'm working with couples, I always ask them the 3 questions, same 3 questions. Do you love each other? Are you committed to each other, and do you want to work at it? And then, once those 3 questions have been ascertained, then you can work out, is there trust there? There has to be trust there. It's really important that there's trust there, because, you can't build foundations. And this is why I've put a picture of a Colosseum column there, looking up there to the sky, is because, if you're going to build up and you're going to build a foundation. So it's almost like looking at your relationship as a home and as a building. If you're building it on unsolid foundations, then it will basically fall down. So you've got to have strong foundations. You've got to have trust. And the thing about trust is that trust has to be earned. So, if we lose trust in relationships, then it takes time to rebuild that and to regain that. So the containment days things is something that I learned doing some Imago training, where one person is basically the container and is holding the energy for the other person. So I got flu recently. I haven't got pretty crook. So my partner was having to be the container. He was having to sort of hold the fort, take the driving wheel, and sort things out. And then last night he was actually feeling a little bit crook, which is Australian for sick. So I was being the container and I was holding the energy for him. So that's really important that we learn to do that. And it's almost like you're becoming team, you are team. And he just said to me before he went out, there is no I in team. So, team is about working together. And sometimes you need to dialogue that. And again, this comes back to communication, which is a big subject that we're going to go through in another time. Okay, so what attracts us to our mate? That's an Alaskan Husky there by the spa. So there are different things that can attract us. Sometimes it's just a pure physical attraction, it's a chemical attraction, or it can be a whole array of many different things. So an evolution attraction, so there's many different philosophies and beliefs on this, so I've just picked some. So one of them is an evolution theory, where basically it's all about survival of the species. And we'll come back to this as well, because this is, what attracts us to men or women is quite important. So evolution is, we want a strong mate, basically. The exchange theory is also a belief that, we choose our equal match. And in some ways we do. So my belief is that basically we choose a partner who has the same wounds as us, which is part of the Imago belief as well. So someone to match our own self-image. But often there's a mirror part of that, where they're very issues. We often deal with those in an opposite way. So if things are very stressful for me, I become a turtle, I hide and I retreat. My partner, he becomes a crocodile and he can just start snapping. So we will have that often balance within us, and the aim in doing that and being connected like that is it brings us together, because it gives us something to work with. You know, I learn to speak out more, he learns to speak out probably less. So yes, that's some beliefs behind that. So the true essence of a woman. What is the true essence of a woman? Now, a woman is very much flow. You know, how many men are saying, you know, she's so moody. I can't be dealing with her moods. Okay, that's what we are. We're like air, you know, we move, we flow. You know, there's some words here, you know, energy, ecstasy, empowerment, and effortless magnetism. So when a woman is connected into her feminine essence, she emanates that, you know, she emanates, you know, she wants people to look at her. She wants to be viewed. She, you know, she becomes flow. She becomes curvaceous. So a woman who's quite angular and, you know, corners and strong, you know, isn't necessarily in the true essence of a woman. You know, women who wear low-cut dresses with their breasts sort of protruding at the bottom there is not a feminine look, because that's a masculine thing. So women are inward, you know. Our energy is in, and masculine energy is out. You know, there is joy and beauty in our sensuality, in our mystery, you know, in our receptiveness. And a woman is also very sensual, and you'll see that in the way she moves. You know, does she curve her hips? And if you're a woman, just try this. You know, walk down the street and just start closing your eyes, visualizing that you know, attractive, receptive, sensual feeling, that flow, and then start walking that way. And that's where our true power lies. So my background and my upbringing led me to become very masculine, and I chose to become masculine because I believed that if I was a woman, you know, men were going to be attracted to me and see me and stand out. So I've done a lot of work on myself, getting close to 50 now, to look at, you know, allowing that feminine aspect to come out. But I did see that in the past as being a negative and a weakness, but it isn't. It's actually a strength. So, you know, when we are in that feminine energy, we become confident, we become grounded, we become lit up, you know. It feels good, and people are attracted to that. People see that. There goes my phone, meaning get into my body. So, you know, it feels good to be her, you know. We project this persona of, you know, the confident, strong, but soft and sensual woman, and that's what we are, you know. When we're standing there, you know, legs apart, hands on hips, you know, that's a masculine thing. We want to be sort of having, you know, arms by our side, standing on one leg, head tilted to the side with that flow and those curves. That's the essence of a woman. So the essence of a man, and the reason I put these little pictures here is because these are the boys. I got 2 sons, and they were out there. We were camping on the Murray River, and they found these cicada shells. And of course, they started creating this army, and they had them all lined up. You can see I was homeschooling the boys then at the time. So they had them all lined up, and they created this army, and it was just such a masculine thing to do. Like, these are young boys with their cicada shells, and there was hundreds of them. They found hundreds of them. They lined them all up, and they had battalions and, you know, I don't know, all this sort of lines and lines of armies. And it was just such a masculine thing because, you know, when a woman sees something, she sees it from her peripheral view, you know, she sees outside. A man sees forward, so he's focused on one thing. So, you know, when we say to a man, you know, can you make sure the cat's fed and, you know, the bird's covered up and the dog's put out and you turn the heater off. You know, it might be, it's not a focused thing, it's a peripheral thing. So men want, you know, they're mission orientated, they're focused, and they're direction. So again, they have that inner strength as well. And we sometimes look for our feminine and masculine strength as being an external thing, when the reality is it's an internal thing, you know. It's having that internal strength. And that's where we need to have that strength first for men and women before we start projecting that out. A man knows what he wants. He's able to make decisions. He can make quick decisions. And I see the man as he's on a train. So he's a man on a mission on the train. Knows what he wants, knows where he's going. And a woman will find that attractive. A true essence of a man is also quite humorous. He's funny, you know. That's more of a masculine thing than a feminine thing. And he's also strong and yet vulnerable. So he can be all that quite easily. So what is it that women want? Women basically want males, and this is where this can come back to the, you know, survival of the species. A woman wants a man with alpha qualities. So when a man is out of balance, he can either become sort of quite soft and sort of new, you know, like a new age guy, soft and sensitive. You know, that can be a little bit out of balance, because ideally he wants to be, you know, have that vulnerable side to him, but also with an inner strength. Now, when a man's out of balance on the other way, then he becomes the bully. You know, he becomes the aggressor and the bully. So a man is a balance between the two. You know, he has that sensitivity, but he also has that inner strength, not a strength that he projects outward. So a man doing that basically is out of balance within himself. A woman also wants a man who can match her intensity. Okay, so I've used the analogy of the woman being the wild horse and the wild stallion, and when I spoke about this in workshops, you know, men laugh and I think it's funny. So she's out there, you know, going crazy and doing her little crazy wild thing, you know, and what the woman actually wants is the man who can just stand there and match her intensity. She doesn't want him to do anything. She doesn't want him to fix anything because nothing's wrong. She's just feeling her passion and she's feeling her, you know, her desire, and she's expressing that. And she just wants him to stand there and wait in his power without losing his grounding. Because then when she's finished huffing and puffing, she'll come back to him. And she wants to know that he's there. So a man who stands his ground while she's a wild mare jumping around. And that's really about matching their intensity. And it's not a fighting thing. It's quite a hard thing to describe. It's not a fighting thing. It's not matching as in, you know, who said, she said. That's all point scoring. This is an energy thing, you know. She wants a man who can be that strong energy while she's that strong energy, and not do anything and not fix anything, but just be there. To be the rock, you know. And the most amazing and best thing a man can ever say to a woman is, it will be okay. This will pass. Everything is fine. And that's that rock energy, that strength energy. You know, that's that strength and that rock. But not someone who's shut off. The other thing a woman also wants from a man is honesty and trust. So she wants to be able to trust him, and she wants him to be honest. And this goes back to the evolution thing as well, because she wants to know that she can trust the man with her family. You know, she wants to know that she can trust the man with her life. You know, it's like the woman surrenders to the man. So the woman chooses the man. And she must also choose to follow him. For the better dynamic in a relationship is for her to surrender to him. And I don't mean to give in to him and let him control her, but I mean energetically, she gives herself to him, and that can be played out quite easily in sexual practice. You see that the woman opens to the man and she allows the man to come in and she surrenders to him. So for her to feel open like that, she has to trust him. So the little lies, you know, no, yeah, I'll go and clean up the garage, and then he doesn't do it. That is really important to a woman, because she's then, you know, you're then breaking that trust. And I know it sounds really petty and pathetic, but she wants a man who is in integrity and a man who is honest and open. So you're better off saying, you know, darling, I can't do it this weekend, or I don't want to do it, or I'm, you know, ringing up, I'm going to be 3 hours late, rather than just not doing it. So just be honest and say, this is what's going on and this is what's happening. So this is what I believe. So I believe that men sometimes don't say things to women because they think she's going to have a go at you about it. But the reality is that in not saying it, she's actually going to feel worse about it. So just learn to communicate, and this is where channels of communication need to be opened. You know, I don't want to do the garage at the moment. I'm not in the mood to do the garage. I'm feeling I'm pressured to do the garage, whatever it is, and actually expressing that. So a woman does not want to be fixed, because there's nothing wrong. We're just different, okay? You're direct, you're focused, you're forward, we flow, and we can be all over the show. Okay, so there is nothing to be fixed. They want to be heard, but men and women both want to be heard. A woman wants to feel important. She wants to feel like she's the most important thing in your life. So, and a man wants to be appreciated. So sometimes you just got to fake it a bit, and I mean, fake it till you make it. Once you start to realize that there are certain things that you can say or do, when a woman's talking, so a woman supposedly uses about 7,000 words a day and a man 1,000, she wants you to be present. She wants you to be present, and she wants you to hear her. And once she gets it out of her system, you can repeat back to her, so what you're telling me is blah, 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 blah. And she'll say, no, this, and you're going, okay, so what you're telling me is this. Yeah, that's right. Is there anything else you want to tell me? And you just let her be her, because that is who she is, And it's the same for men. So men are more physical. If a man does something, then you want to show your appreciation and say things to your man, like, honey, that was just really good that you did that for me, or I really appreciate that you did for that. So men want appreciation. Men want to feel appreciation. So women want to feel important, men appreciation. So they want presence. So the other thing that women want is to be ravished by their man. So 10-minute sex, no, not good. You're talking 40 to 50-minute sex. And that's all part of being ravished, She wants to feel beautiful, and it's the little things that you can do. My partner says to me, have I told you yet today? Have I told you that I love you? That's all part of the foreplay. That's all part of the love. So, expecting that you're not connecting, you're not communicating. If you don't communicate with your woman, then she's not going to want to open up to you. So part of the opening process, it's like a dance. It's like a dance that you start doing, in the morning. So there are certain trigger times that are really important, when you wake up first thing, when you leave the house, when you first come back to the house, and when you're in bed and going to bed. These are very important times. So, waking up with a kiss and a hug and a squeeze is good. That's a good thing for both of you. When your man comes back from work or the woman comes back from work, it's, you're home. It's like being pleased to see you. And that's part of what a man wants. So what do men want? They want women to be clear about what they want and state their needs without being bossy. Men don't like being nagged, but the reality is that if you're a man and your woman is nagging you, then that's a good thing. She wants a man who's on track. So, she will let you know if you're not on track. So we spoke about a man being out of balance. So if a woman's out of balance, she's actually going to be very needy. And a man in his true masculine essence won't want a needy woman, because he's carrying her, and that's heavy, We're all responsible for our own stuff, and we ideally need to be sorting our own stuff out. But the other side of a woman being out of balance is her being too independent. And I used to get that in the past. You're just too independent, because I was too independent. I would not surrender myself to my partner, because I always had to sort things out, and I had to be, be in control of everything. So it's really important that we do look about, stating what our needs are. So women need to talk clearly to a man. And a couple of weeks ago, I was doing something with my partner, and I was hinting very, very strongly, and I'm thinking, he's going to get this. And then in the morning, I got a bit sad because he didn't pick up my hints. And he said, I didn't get it. So you've really got to spell it out. This is what I want, and not do it in a bossy way. Just do it in a loving way. What I want is for you to squeeze me. What I want is for you to hold me right now, and just tell your partner what it is that you want. And sometimes that's hard because a woman doesn't know. So the other thing a man's got to learn, it can be a bit hard for a man, because it's like, well, she's saying yes when she really means no. Though men don't want to read a woman's mind, just be clear about it, come out with it. Men also want a woman who has vitality and a spark. When a woman becomes dull, okay, that's unattractive. So this is his part of, where the woman wants the alpha the alpha feeling, the man also wants that spark. He wants a woman who looks like she's fertile and, you know, and that sort of stuff. So he wants someone with vitality and with spark. So when, you know, when the passion starts dulling in relationships, you know, he will start wandering or looking elsewhere because he's man, his energy out, his action. She stops caring about how she feels on the inside. So she might, you know, start to put weight on. She'll stop putting makeup on. She'll stop, you know, pampering herself. She'll just be in a tracky dacks and Uggies all the time. You know, and that's a real turn off for a man. You know, a man wants a woman who's got a spark and wants vitality. So at the end of this YouTube thing, if you're a man and there is other stuff that you feel that you want in a woman, by all means, put some discussion in there and let people know. And vice versa, if you're a woman and you think there are important things that you want, then let them know. Men also want inner honesty from women, and they also want to feel trust. So that's a joint thing that they want, you know. And a man really wants his woman to look sexy, you know. He wants her to view her. He wants to see her. He wants to see her, you know, with that spark and look at her. And so, you know, for a woman to parade around a bit, you know, in the bedroom, I'm not on about in public, but to parade around a bit for him, you know, to show, you know, be a bit showy for him. Like, you know, he'll like that. He'll enjoy that because he'll feel that's for me. So, yeah, very important that you are clear and focused about what it is that you want to be saying. So just some stuff here about reigniting the spark. So start adding more fun in the script. Here the Alaskan puppy's now having a few martinis. You know, add in what you want. When you start communicating what's happening and what you want, use I statements. I really like it when you do this for me. I really like it when you know, I. So when you're having arguments and stuff, you know, forget the you. You need to be taking responsibility for your own feelings and for your own actions and your own behaviours, you know, and actually stating that, not shaming and blaming. Shaming and blaming is just point scoring. It's actually not going to get anywhere. And if you need to have time out from that to actually centre yourself again, feel yourself, connect into yourself, come back into your body, come present again, and then try connecting again. So, you know, have some date nights, have some dynamic action, do some stuff. And one person needs to be the driver of that. I tend to find it's more the woman that tends to be the organizer. She's the one that plants the seeds, you know, and often she'll plant the seeds and I say, get this sort of organized. And then the man will go, oh, we're doing this. And you go, that's such a good idea, darling. So, you know, create it, drive it. If that's what you have to do, then that's what you have to do. And it's the same with relationships with children and family, you know. You've got to create the quality time. You've got to create, you know, some fun. You've got to bring some spontaneity into it. You know, and maybe your relationship is the other way, where you actually want to be not doing so much spontaneity, but maybe it's all too much action, and you actually want some stability. So then start creating some stability time. Whatever it is that you need to have balance. And at the bottom there, I've got state of connection meetings. So we discuss, you know, what state of connection, what our connection is, what state it is in, what we need to be doing, what we like, what we don't like. And creating time for that is also very important as well. Okay, so what do couples want? Just to recap, they want connection. We want to have a balance between fun and stability. Know that we have the same wounds, so we're partnered together because it's for us to work through those wounds, and more of my webinars will be covering some of that stuff. Look at standing in your own essence, you know, be in your feminine, be in your masculine, and learn to communicate readily. So the only way that we're ever going to make change is for us to start becoming more informed and educated, and also for us to start taking responsibility for our health and our well-being. We do this one step at a time, and the hardest step is always the first step. So I'm here to help you do that, and I do run lots of programs, and I can actually help with that in lots of ways. So what can you do? Feel free to stay connected. There's going to be more. I do newsletters, I write blogs, I write articles. These webinar series is just going to keep growing and growing. So yeah, you can email me and I'll give you some more information. You can sign up for the courses. One course that I'm doing, which I'll just talk about in a second. So basically, you know, there is a point of you having to be ready to take charge of your life and finding what things you can do about it. So, you know, we've got given you some good strategies here, but if you're wanting more vibrant health and more vitality, then let me know. And the program that I do offer, which is done online, we don't need to be in Melbourne or near Melbourne to do this, is basically just going through a 6-week program, and it's called Louise's Liftoff Lifestyle Liftoff program. And really, I just help you through the whole process. You know, we just go through the whole process. Oops, I can't get on there. And we basically look at, you know, we do one-on-one sessions. We do 7 sessions in the week. You know, we look at, you know, well, where are you at? Working at what your weakness is. So we go through focusing on your business. We focus on your health, exercise, relationships, spirituality, you know, diet, all that sort of stuff. And then through each week by week, we actually go through the program and actually start working through it. So normally that's to the value of about 1,782, but you can sign up for that for 947. So, yeah, join our mailing list, find us some more, follow us or like us on Vitae More if you can, or on my personal Facebook page, sign up for our newsletters, or just email me if you want to find more about our transformational weekends. So I will finish on the recap there about couples and what couples want. Remember mostly just to have fun. You know, life is supposed to be fun. We tend to forget about that. We tend to lose connection with that. So it's really important that you do look at, you know, having some fun and connection in your life, and know that every time that a partner, you know, touches your wounds or upsets you, or you can become reactive, then that is healing that's wanting to occur. So any feeling of uncomfortableness is always growth that wants to occur, and to know that and to be aware of that. So the aim to ideally what to do is to learn to act and not to react would be the optimum thing to do. And to just communicate that I'm feeling this is what's happening, this is what's going on, this is what I want, this is what I don't want, you know, and, you know, ideally look at what it is that you do want, and just learn to communicate openly. So thank you for sharing the time to listen to this webinar, and I look forward to you connecting to me and listening to another one at another time. So until then, remember to keep following the feel-good feeling and having fun in your life and enjoying, and yeah, be happy and be alive. Thank you.